During the early years of World War II, German General Erwin Rommel emerged as one of the most innovative and aggressive commanders of the conflict. At a time when warfare was still heavily influenced by the static trench battles of the First World War, Rommel introduced a radically different approach, one built on speed, initiative, and relentless pressure. Known for his unpredictability and tactical brilliance, Rommel repeatedly defeated enemy forces that were often larger, better equipped, and more firmly entrenched. Rommel's reputation, however, was not built overnight. Long before the world came to know him as the Desert Fox, he had already proven himself on the battlefields of World War I. As a young officer, Rommel demonstrated exceptional small unit leadership, frequently taking bold initiative without waiting for orders. He studied terrain carefully, exploited enemy weaknesses, and relied on surprise to overwhelm opponents. These experiences left a deep impression on him and shaped his entire philosophy of warfare. In 1937, Rommel documented these lessons in his influential book, Infantry Attacks. The book was not merely a memoir, but a detailed tactical guide based on real battlefield experience. It emphasized movement, flexibility, and decisive action at the lowest levels of command. The work quickly gained widespread attention within the German military and became required reading for many officers. Most importantly, it caught the attention of Adolf Hitler, who viewed Rommel as a dynamic and politically reliable commander. In 1940, as Germany prepared for its campaign against Western Europe, Rommel was given command of the 7th Panzer Division, despite having no prior experience leading armored formations. Many senior officers were skeptical of this decision. Tank warfare was complex, requiring coordination between infantry, armor, artillery, and air support. Yet Rommel approached this challenge with confidence. What he lacked in technical knowledge, he compensated for with aggressive leadership, rapid decision-making, and an instinctive understanding of momentum on the battlefield. When Germany launched its invasion of France in May 1940, Rommel led his division as part of the bold plan to strike through the Ardennes forest. The Allies believed this region to be unsuitable for large mechanized forces and had therefore left it lightly defended. Rommel exploited this assumption to devastating effect. Driving his division forward at extraordinary speed, he ignored traditional caution and pressed relentlessly toward the French interior. Under heavy enemy fire, Rommel's forces crossed the Meuse River, a critical natural barrier. Instead of consolidating his gains, Rommel immediately pushed forward, bypassing pockets of resistance and leaving them to be dealt with by follow-up units. His emphasis on speed caused widespread confusion among Allied commanders. Communications broke down, reports became outdated within hours, and enemy units often found German tanks suddenly appearing behind their lines. Allied intelligence struggled to track Rommel's movements. His division seemed to vanish and reappear without warning, striking deep into enemy territory. This phenomenon earned the 7th Panzer Division its famous nickname, the Ghost Division. The psychological impact of this rapid advance was enormous. French and British troops often believed they were surrounded, even when they were not, leading to hasty withdrawals and collapsing defensive positions. By June 1940, French resistance had largely collapsed. Rommel's division alone captured thousands of prisoners and massive quantities of equipment, including tanks, vehicles, and artillery. His leadership during the campaign was widely praised within Germany. As recognition for his achievements, Rommel was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross and promoted to lieutenant general. The campaign in France transformed him from a promising officer into a national military hero. In early 1941, Rommel was sent to North Africa to command the newly formed Afrika Corps. Italy's forces in Libya were on the verge of collapse, and Germany intervened to stabilize the front. Rommel's official orders were defensive in nature: hold the line and wait for reinforcements. Initially, he appeared to comply, but true to his nature, Rommel soon saw an opportunity to seize the initiative. Within weeks of his arrival, Rommel launched a surprise offensive against British forces. Exploiting weak positions and poor coordination among his opponents, he drove eastward across Libya at remarkable speed. His use of desert maneuver warfare mirrored his earlier success in France. Once again, he relied on rapid movement, deception, and aggressive reconnaissance to outflank enemy positions. British commanders were repeatedly caught off guard. Rommel used desert routes the Allies believed to be impassable, striking where defences were weakest. His advances fragmented British command structures and forced hurried retreats. By the spring of 1941, Axis forces had recaptured much of the territory previously lost and laid siege to the critical port city of Tobruk. Although Tobruk initially held out, Rommel's persistence kept Allied forces under constant pressure. Despite supply shortages and logistical difficulties, he maintained the initiative throughout much of the campaign. After setbacks and regrouping on both sides, Rommel launched another major offensive in 1942, culminating in one of his greatest victories. In June 1942, Rommel successfully captured Tobruk, taking over 33,000 Allied prisoners and seizing vast stores of fuel, weapons and supplies. The victory shocked the Allied world and represented the largest British surrender since the fall of Singapore earlier that year. For this achievement, Rommel was promoted to Field Marshal, becoming the youngest officer in the German army to attain the rank. The North African campaign marked the peak of Rommel's military career. His operations at Gazala and Tobruk are still studied today as classic examples of maneuver warfare under difficult conditions. Though the war would later turn against Germany, Rommel's legacy as a bold, innovative, and highly respected commander endured long after the conflict ended. Erwin Rommel remains one of World War II's most formidable and fascinating military figures, a general whose name became synonymous with speed, audacity, and tactical brilliance.